car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned
Hello and
way.
welcome to the Frontier Motor Show. My name is Iven Streckel, and for the next half an hour we're going to talk about cars, what's going on in the industry. And if you have never listened to the show or watched the show, just because you're not in the car market, don't turn that channel. We've got a lot of things to talk about that can help you and your friends when you get into a car accident, or perhaps if you know someone that's buying a car or they need a reference, if they're going to be buying a brand new car. And even though we sell used cars at Frontier Motors, there's a lot of things that we can help you with when you decide to buy a brand new car, and we can talk you out of getting that depreciation at that first and second and third year offers that we sell and talk about, because we are the alternative to new. But there are customers out there that 14.5 million of them last year bought a brand new car. I couldn't talk them out of it. So if you're one of those people, you stop at Frontier Motors first, and we can give you the new car cost guide invoice of any new car out there. So we can tell you basically what the dealer paid, and that way you know your negotiating point. The other thing we can do for you if you're going to buy a brand new car is we can appraise your trade-in within 15 minutes. That way you know, by having that second opinion appraisal in your back pocket, if that used car appraiser at the other new car dealership you're going to is taking advantage of you, or if he's not taking, or is giving you a fair shake. So we'll not only tell you what to pay for that new car, we'll also tell you what the trade-in is worth. And then we'll also, the third thing we can do is tell you what maybe a one-year-old car would cost that's still in a factory warranty that has very low miles on it. We buy cars new if possible, even though we have to sell them as used. We were buying cars the other day, actually last month, I bought 3 Honda Ridgelines and Odysseys that had no more than 100 miles on them. Now, how do I get those cars? Those are extra cars that either rental companies or dealers took to the auction because they needed to liquidate, perhaps get money, perhaps they overbought. So they take those cars and they need to raise money immediately, so they take them to the auction, sell them to the highest bidder. That's where we come in. And as long as I can buy those cars at a reduced price, I think I can talk you into buying a car from Frontier Motors, with the only disadvantage being is the title. It is now a title car, which means the warranty clock is ticking. So if it's 2 months old on a Honda, for example, instead of having 36 months, now you have 34 months left on the warranty. So the other thing we can help you with is if you ever get into a car accident, we can give you a letter of diminished value, because we all know that a car in a major or moderate accident is going to be worth less in trade-in than one that's never been in an accident. I don't know why that is, because it's psychological. That's just the way it is. And I think it started out probably years and years and years ago, when body shops weren't the best, and they would piece a car back together and use used parts and Bondo and everything else. So they got these repaired cars got bad reputations. I think body shops have come a long way, and I think right now that it's a misconception that a car that has been repaired is not as good as one that was brand new, especially if the car has brand spanking new parts. Let's say the car is 4 years old. You get in a major accident, they put brand new parts in the car, maybe a new compressor, a new condenser. Shouldn't that car be worth more instead of less? But it's not. It's worth less. So what we do is we give you a letter of diminished value that can take the insurance company, say, hey, my car is going to be worth $3,000 less because it's been in a major wreck caused by your client. So again, it has to be somebody else's fault. If it's your fault, you can't get diminished value if it's your fault. So these are some of the things that, and I think probably the other coolest thing that we do for people that saves them money is we run free Carfax history reports. Carfax is the largest provider of history reports in the nation. We run a Carfax on every car we take and trade. Every car that we look at, basically, we immediately run a history report, because sometimes it eliminates us buying the car. If you have a salvage title, if you have a lemon law buyback, if you've got frame damage, those are no buys at Frontier Motors. Now, if it's been in an accident, we would buy a car that's been in a minor accident. We normally don't buy cars that have been in moderate or major accidents, only because you have to explain it to the next owner. But we will give you that letter of diminished value so you can help yourself be made whole, because we're going to appraise that car for less. Not just us, but any dealer is going to appraise the car for less money, especially if it's been in a moderate or major accident and it says the airbags have been deployed. Some of the things that's going on in the industry right now, car sales for 2020 have come in, and it was not a good year. It was actually one of the worst years since 2012. 14.6 million cars were sold. The record was a hair shy of 18 million. So they're way down, but in my book, that's still a lot of cars, but not according to the industry standards and what they had hoped for. Ford was number one with 1.9 million cars, and they were down 16%, but they still almost hit 2 million sales. Toyota was number two with 18 million sales. No, I'm sorry, not 18 million, 1,800,000 sales. Ford was 1,900,000 sales. Chevrolet was number three with 1,700,000. And Honda was rounded off the 1 million mark, and these were all down 17, 11, and 12% off the sales. The number one selling pickup truck, small pickup truck, was a Tacoma. And for the first time ever, the Tacoma outsold the Corolla. Toyota's number one selling car had been, not the number selling car, let me see, it was the number one selling car has been the Corolla, and Tacoma for the first time ever beat the Corolla, which is really interesting. The Ford Ranger was right up there. They sold 101,000 Ford Rangers, and they outsold the Colorado, which had 96,000 sales. And the Jeep Gladiator, which is new to the market, had a phenomenal 94% gain in sales over the year before, and they sold 77,000 Gladiators. What a cool little car that Gladiator is. The number one selling pickup truck is sold, as said before, is a Ford pickup truck. That's been number one for the last 20-some years, Ford F-150. Number two was Chevrolet. They actually outsold Ram. The year before, Ram outsold Chevy for the first time. It was close. 586,000 Chevy sold, and Ram sold 563. Now, if you put GMC in there, GMC did the best. You add GMC to Chevy, which I don't know why they don't add them all together. GM had 839,000 sales, and Ford had 780. So it's really interesting that GM did sell more pickup trucks than anything else. The other thing is the number one selling SUV was a RAV4. So if you're thinking about buying an SUV, especially a mid-sized small SUV, RAV4 was number one with a 430,000 sale. Honda CR-V was number two. Chevy Equinox, Nissan Rogue, and then for the first time, the new Ford Explorer got in the mix. I shouldn't say new; it's been out for a bit, but Ford Explorer sold 226,000 Ford Explorer. So very interesting what's going on in this. If you're in the industry, you might not really care how many they sold of a certain one. I look at how many they sold because our number one selling vehicle at Frontier Motors, people always say, well, what do you sell the most of? Well, it's an F-150. Why do we sell the most of F-150? Because it's the number one selling vehicle in the United States. So we stock more F-150s, they sell more F-150s. All these vehicles I just mentioned, we stock a lot of those vehicles because they sell. That's what people are asking for. What don't we stock? We don't stock electric vehicles. Now, I do have a Tesla in stock, but it's the oldest vehicle in inventory. And every time I get a Tesla, it just sits and sits and sits. And we have nobody asking for electric vehicles. And it's very interesting when we talk about electric vehicles because the one advantage of electric vehicles is that, and this is in Consumer Reports on page 48 of the new edition, the average amount of electric vehicle owners save on maintenance costs and repairs over the life of the vehicle compared to conventional cars is $4,600. The average age, let's say the average age is 10 years. Over 10 years, you save $4,600 if you own electric. And they take into consideration the cost of electricity. So that's quite a bit. People still have range anxiety and they have charging anxiety. What that means is that you don't know how far you can go. You don't know as the vehicle gets older, how does that battery change? You know, Tesla, for example, says on their extended range S model, you can go 360 miles. Well, what happens after 5 years? Can you still go 360 miles or are you down to 280 miles? And what happens after 10 years? Are you down to 150 miles? We really don't know the answer to that because they haven't been out that long. So we've got some range anxiety. Plus, you know, I've got relatives in Wisconsin. So if I drive to Wisconsin or 4 weeks ago, I took a truck down to Key West, a Ford F-150. When I filled up 36 gallons, it had a range of 680 miles. I could pull into a gas station, fill up again when I ran on close to empty. Can't do that with a Tesla or electric car. You have got to figure out how far can I go, and is the charging station that I found on my app, actually even available. Because a lot of people will park their car in a charging station only because, like at a hotel room, for example, the charging stations, for whatever reason, I think this was a bad idea, but they put the charging stations, like at the Hilton downtown, on the beach, the charging station is actually closer than the handicap parking. So these people that bring their Teslas, for example, they park them there, they put the charging port in, and they go up to the room, they spend the weekend in the room, they come back out, and they unplug it 3 days later. Big mistake. They should have put it way far away to give the customers an incentive to park closer, because they're not leaving. They're leaving it plugged in, even though they're charged already. So I'm not sure what's going on. And I think I told you last time I did this show, General Motors has announced that by 2035, no more gasoline cars. Volvo's already announced in 2030, no more gasoline cars. Other manufacturers are filing suit where they're saying they're going to hybrid or electric only. So, is that going to really happen? Can't they just make gasoline cars that have zero emissions? There's got to be some scientists out there that can make this happen, or close to zero emissions, because that's what the whole thing is about, is having no emissions. And I understand that. Can't be the price of gas, even though lately the price of gas has gone up, but they're building gasoline cars that get better and better gas mileage. When you can buy a Corolla that gets 40 miles a gallon and not have to worry about finding a charging port, not have to worry about replacing that expensive batteries, like replacing an engine, and having a car that has the reliability factor of going between 200 and 300,000 miles on the original engine and transmission, why would you look at electric? Why is everybody going electric? It's got me bamboozled, and I don't understand it. And we sell between 150 and 200 cars every month, and I've yet to have somebody come in and say, hey, find me an electric car. We don't have any because nobody's coming in and asking for them, but yet all the manufacturers are supposedly going to electric. So it's got me a little bit bamboozled, bafoofled, So you know what I mean. Hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but Fiat Group, they own Chrysler, Dodge, and, well, I was going to say Plymouth, and Jeep. They just merged with Peugeot, and now they're called Stellantis. So if you ever hear the company called Stellantis, that's your Dodge, your Ram, your Chrysler dealer, and also your Fiat dealer, and also now Peugeot. Not that we sell any Peugeots, because we actually used to have a Peugeot franchise in Wisconsin years ago. What a crappy car that was. And they are actually one of the top selling vehicles in Europe. I don't understand, because ours always broke down when we had them. This was back in the early 80s. Not a very good car. Did you know that the Toyota Sienna now, the 2021 Sienna, only comes in a hybrid? So it's really interesting. So they're starting to go to that a little bit already, which means that the all-new Sienna minivan comes exclusively as a hybrid. It's a 4-cylinder engine with 2 electric motors, and it produces 245 horsepower, which is pretty darn good. They're all-wheel drives, and they're estimating 33 miles per gallon combined, which is pretty darn good for a minivan. They used to get 23. Now this Sienna now gets 33, and it's all-wheel drive. So if you're thinking about minivan, by the way, folks, we sell a lot of minivans. Minivans are making a comeback because they've taken the minivan and restyled it and made them sporty. So they're not one of the soccer mom vehicles anymore. Take a look at the new Chrysler Pacifica. What a cool looking vehicle. The new Honda Odyssey. Real angular, really muscular looking. They're one of the safest vehicles on the road. They get decent gas mileage. They can haul up to 8 people. The seats fold into the back. I mean, you can make a pickup truck out of a minivan. So we have stocked up in minivans. We normally have between 20 and 30 minivans on the lot at all times. So if you're in the minivan market, a lot of dealers don't sell minivans. So you go to a dealer, you might see 1 or 2, and we have between 20 and 30. So I think that's a pretty good thing to know if you know anybody that's looking for a minivan. At Frontier Motors, we stock about 300 cars. We make it really easy, by the way. If you stop at Frontier Motors, we really take the pressure out of buying a car. People hate car shopping, and why is that? Well, because of the pressure situation, the old stupid questions like, well, if I do this, will you buy it today? If I give you this much for your car, will you buy? If I can do this payment, if I can do this lease payment, is there any way I can earn your business today? What we do at Frontier Motors is we give you a bottom line out the door price in writing and urge you, if you're not sure, if you don't want to buy it right now, that you should shop us. Now, why would we do that? Why would we tell you to shop us? Which means go to another dealer and compare pricing. Well, because we're confident in our pricing. And if you go to a dealer that will not give you the total out-the-door price in writing, my suggestion is you walk out. They're hiding something. And I'm talking about the license plate transfer should be included. If you're buying a new plate, they should put that tag in there. The title fee should be in there. If they charge a dock fee, that should be in there. The tax on the dock fee, the sales county tax, the federal tax, everything should be included. And what we do, including that price, we also include a 10-year 100,000-mile drivetrain warranty, and this is not a gimmicky warranty. This will actually pay if your motor blows up, if your transmission blows up, it actually will pay as long as you've serviced the vehicle and as long as it's not more than a total of 10 years old. For example, if you're buying a 5-year-old car with 50,000 miles, the warranty that we include in our out-the-door price is 5 more years, up to 10, 50,000 more miles, up to 100,000, engine and transmission and transaxle. So now you do have to prove that you've changed oil since you've owned the car. So don't drive the car for 25,000 miles and not be able to show that you've done an oil change. Now, some of the oil changes are going on Carfax reports, which I haven't told you before. We run at no charge for you. So if you need a Carfax report, it's no charge. Whether you're buying a car from a neighbor or another car dealership, or you want to sell your car, but you don't have a report, just call us up and our sales people will run the report for you and email it, or you can come and pick it up, or we'll mail it for you at no charge. We do a lot of things for people that aren't buying cars in Pensacola at Frontier Motors for no charge. Let's give you advice on what you sell your car for, give you advice on if you do sell your car yourself, how should you do the paperwork, what should a bill of sale look like, how should you transfer funds, if you're going to be buying a car somewhere else that you found a neighbor, what should you pay for it, not just book values. Of course, we can give you book values too, but we can tell you the reality value. Reality value is what we can sell a car just like that for. And having usually over 300 cars in inventory, somewhere between 300 and 350, we normally might have a car very similar to what you're looking for. Maybe your neighbor is selling a 17 Impala for $20,000. Well, maybe we've got a 17 Impala on the lot that is selling for $16,000. So these are the things that we can help you with, not to talk you out of buying somewhere else, but to give you the advice that if you're going to buy somewhere else, get yourself a fair deal, don't pay too much. And even if you buy that particular car from a private individual or another dealer, or by giving you the ammunition to get a good deal, hopefully you will recommend your friends and relatives and coworkers to Frontier Motors when they're asking, hey, where'd you buy your car? Would you go there? A lot of times a person will buy a car or find a car at another dealership. If we don't have that car, they'll go buy it there, but they'll recommend us because we told them it was a fair deal, or we told them it was a bad deal and go back and work that salesman down to a fair price. And we do the same thing here. If we have a car and we feel it's overpriced, we immediately will reprice that car because car prices change. Sometimes, believe it or not, car prices go up. Right now, when the Jeep Wranglers are in a hot demand, the used Wranglers have gone up a little bit in value. They're still a bargain compared to a new one, but they've actually gone up in price. And I appraised a Wrangler that I appraised 6 months ago that actually went up $500 in value, where normally 6 months later, they would drop $1,000 in value. So that's a $1,500 swing, which is unusual because the reason that you buy a used car, because it drops every month a little bit. Well, after 12 months, after 24 and 36 months, that droppage of a little bit adds up into some really big dollars. And the dollar amount that these cars drop are unbelievable. And that's what has put us on the map in the last 25 years that Frontier Motors is selling the alternative to new by offering a new car, a car like new, at greatly reduced prices over a brand new one. A little bit about reliability. There's certain cars I love selling because they're reliable. There's some cars that I sell because people ask for them. I don't offer my opinion unless you ask for it. I talked myself out of a sale about 5 years ago where a customer came in and he spec'd out a Mercedes SL 500, which is their real expensive hardtop convertible. That's the SL 500. Might be a 550 now. Spec'd it out. I told him I can get him one for $70,000. A brand new one was $120,000. He said, boy, that sounds really good. That's what, go ahead and get it. And then he said, by the way, what do you think of that car? I said, well, I wouldn't buy one. He said, why wouldn't you? I said, because they're crappy cars. I said, all they do is break down. I said, the car you're looking at is only going to be 2 years old. It's still going to be under warranty, but you could be spending your time in the service department. Now, this was a while back. Guess what? I lost the sale because I told them the truth. And I didn't have, and I don't know what he ended up buying. Sometimes people will tell me, okay, I'll hold off on that. And they'll go buy that car somewhere else because they're embarrassed that they're going to go against what I told them by buying that same car somewhere else because they don't really care. And they've got a warranty, or they're going to take the chances because if a car has a bad reliability, it doesn't make all of those cars unreliable. And a lot of times consumers will give you a bad reliability report because 20% of those cars sold had engine problems. Well, that means 80% didn't. So you never know if you're going to get a good one or a bad one, but you got to go on percentages. Now, by the way, Mercedes and BMW and Audi have come way up because 10 years ago, I would have told you not to buy those cars because I have nothing but problems with them used. Not anymore. They're quite a bit better. Consumer Reports just came out with the new reliability ratings. I love when they come out with the reliability ratings because they're up-to-date ratings. And they have a couple of paragraphs before they go to the ratings. It said they interviewed 329,000 CR members. So they contacted, this is not a 30 or 40,000 people, 330,000 people they contacted to get the reliability ratings from these cars. Mazda moved up a notch from last year. Mazda last year was the second most reliable brand out there. Guess what? This year it's number one. Who would have thought? Mazda. They're not an expensive car. They build the most reliable car in the United States right now. Or they sell. I don't think they build in the United States, but they sell the most reliable car. Isn't that something? So if you're thinking about a Toyota or a Honda, look at Mazda. And then they also say Toyota moved up one spot from third to second position. Toyota has always been a great car. And I throw the Lexus in the mix. Lexus tumbled from first place last year to third place, but maintains its perch among the most reliable brands out there. So Lexus has always been my favorite car to sell because number one, I like Lexus. I like the way they drive. I like how quiet. I like the fit and finish. I like not just their reliability, but just the way the car is built is phenomenal. When you close the door of a Lexus, I mean, it doesn't rattle. And I can't say that about all the cars out there. But Lexus has always been one of my favorite cars because they depreciate like all other cars, so I can sell them used at a huge savings over a brand new one. We sell a lot of RX 350s, which, by the way, the RX 350 made the top pick for the best brand out there in midsize SUVs. So Lexus is one car. Buick soared 14 places from 16 to number 4. So if you whatever brand is left in Buick, and one reason they went up so much because the Buick Regal, they're saying the Buick Regal was a crappy sedan, and that pulled Buick down because Buick doesn't make a lot of vehicles anymore. Matter of fact, I think they just discontinued the Buick LaCrosse. So what do they really build right now? They build an Envision, an Encore. They build all SUVs. That's all that's left. And those SUVs that they're building are the top of the top. So consider a Buick, which is the number one domestic on the list, is a Buick. And Tesla Model Y, that's their new small SUV. You know what the Model 3 is. That's their small car. Came out with that a couple years ago. They're selling the hotcakes out of the Model 3. Well, they decided to come out with a Model Y, which is that 3 in a small SUV body. And they're saying it's crappy. Owners reported numerous build quality issues, including body panels that fit so poorly the hatch couldn't even be closed. Paint problems were common. One owner reported dust, debris, and even human hair trapped in the paint. On the bright side, the Model 3 remained at average reliability and a recommended car by Consumer Reports. So it's kind of weird that the Model 3 now is average reliability. That used to be poor, and it's the hottest selling electric vehicle on the market, and then they come out with a Y, which is basically a Model 3 with a SUV body, and they're saying it is crappy. So don't buy a Y right now. Wait till they get the bugs out. Number one brand, Mazda. This is reliability, not brand, not overall. This is just reliability, folks. Toyota, Lexus, Buick, Honda made a big comeback. Hyundai. Who'd have thought that Hyundai and Kia would be up there? 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when we started this dealership, we couldn't sell Hyundais and Kias. You know why? Because our banks wouldn't finance them. Do you know why? Because they wouldn't last the term of the loan. And when they stopped running, people would stop paying. They had to get a different car. So the banks wouldn't have. Now, guess what? They're great cars. They're great cars. Ram. I remember 10 to 15 years ago, Ram was a crappy truck. Nobody would buy one. Now, last year, they were number 2 vehicle out there. Then you got Subaru, then you got Porsche, then you got Dodge, then you got Infiniti, BMW, Nissan, Audi, Kia, GMC, Chevrolet, Volvo, Jeep. Mercedes was number 20, so they haven't come up. Actually, they came up from 24 to number 20. Cadillac's number 21. Would I still tell you to buy a Cadillac? I think Cadillac's a great car. But compared to rankings, they're saying the reliability that some, not all models, but some certain models have issues. Folks, we've only got about 2 or 3 minutes left, so I want to let you know that Frontier Motors is here not just to sell you a car. We're not here to grab your wallet. We're here to give you information to help you buy a car, whether it's at our dealership or somebody else's. We're here to make sure you get a good deal, whether you buy it from us or not. And the reason we do this, and we do this without pressuring you to buy from us, is because we know that this next car you buy might not be the last car you ever buy, and that if we help you get a good deal, then you're going to recommend Frontier Motors over all the other dealers in Pensacola. And last count, there was 120 new and used car dealerships, over 120 new and used car dealerships in the Pensacola area. So there's a lot to choose from, so why would you choose us? Well, one of the reasons is because of our I was going to say our reliability, but it's really because we've been here and we've been helping the people in the Pensacola area. And we have so many customers that come not so much from the advertising from the show, which the show has really helped us put us on the map, because people say, hey, got to go to that Frontier Motors and give them a shot. But it's because of the way that we do business, that how easy it is, how people walk out of here and say, man, I can't believe that there's actually a car dealership that sells cars like this, that actually gives me the chance to make up my own mind rather than talk me into it while I'm here. And we don't care if you buy a car today, tomorrow, next year. We just want you to buy a car. And hopefully, and the only thing we ask is to get a shot at your business. We don't say we're going to sell you every car out there. If we have 300 cars and you're looking for number 301 that we don't have, we can understand where you might buy somewhere else, but we can at least help you get that deal somewhere else. We can at least tell you what we can give you for your car on a purchase. And because we only have 1 minute left, with 300 cars in inventory, we're actually about 50 to 70 cars short of our goal. We try to keep closer to 400 cars in inventory, which means that if you have a car to buy, I can give you a buy bid and write you a check, if you have the title, within 15 minutes. So if you have to pay it off, we might have to go ahead and use our money to pay your car off. And when we get that title in, we're going to get the balance of that vehicle. This process takes 15 minutes. And if we don't give you enough on the purchase, which you'll be surprised how much it is, maybe we can do a consignment. Again, that's Frontier Motors, 230 Beverly Parkway. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Looking for the best car, SUV, or truck? Guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay. Come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier. We've got the right price. Frontier. We'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.